Real Madrid just declared war on Manchester City. José Mourinho has pulled the trigger on a move nobody saw coming. A stunning raid on Pep Guardiola's most explosive weapon. Guardiola never saw it coming. Stick around because we're about to break down exactly how this deal came together. But first, hit subscribe so you never miss a story like this one. Let's get into it. Real Madrid has detonated a bomb in the middle of the transfer market. José Mourinho, in one of the boldest power plays of his entire managerial career, is pushing through a stunning move for Manchester City's most devastating weapon. His target is Erling Haaland. The price tag, reportedly over €180 million. The Norwegian striker is widely regarded as the single most lethal finisher in world football. Now he's been thrust into a transfer saga so volatile it has plunged Manchester City's boardroom into outright panic and reignited the bitterest rivalry the Premier League has ever produced. None of this happened by accident. According to sources close to the negotiations, Mourinho has been laying the groundwork for this exact move since the moment he walked back into the Bernabeu. He's convinced no title challenge is possible without a ruthless, box-dominant striker who can end a game in a single touch. Here's where the story turns violent. Manchester City never intended to even open the door for offers on their most prized asset. Pep Guardiola himself is said to have told his own hierarchy, in blunt and unmistakable terms, that Haaland was simply untouchable heading into the new campaign. That refusal did nothing to slow Mourinho down. If anything, it lit the fuse. Far from backing off, the Portuguese coach reportedly weaponized every relationship he built during his years dominating the Premier League. He applied pressure from multiple fronts at once, turning what looked like a mission impossible into the single biggest saga of the entire transfer window. Nobody inside the game saw this coming, and that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. The push for Haaland was never part of Real Madrid's original summer blueprint. Sources inside Valdebebas confirmed that the sporting direction had originally prioritized rebuilding the midfield. That decision was born directly from the scars of last season, when Los Blancos were repeatedly torn apart in central areas by Europe's most physical sides. Then Mourinho walked back through the door and tore up the plan. He's known throughout his career for building conquering teams around one ruthless focal point in attack. Drogba at Chelsea, Lukaku at Inter. The 62-year-old is said to have looked Florentino Perez in the eye and told him plainly, none of the midfield reinforcements would matter without a guaranteed goal machine leading the line. Panic set in fast. Multiple reports out of England claim Manchester City's ownership group was blindsided, genuinely blindsided, by the sheer scale of Real Madrid's opening proposal. The structure is said to be brutal, a massive upfront fee stacked with Champions League performance add-ons. The numbers were so extreme that City's board was forced into an emergency internal meeting just to figure out how to respond. That meeting, according to insiders, ended without a firm rejection, a detail alone that has sent shockwaves through Manchester. Because in football, silence has never meant no. Pep Guardiola has said absolutely nothing publicly, and that silence is deafening. Journalists covering the Etihad noticed it immediately. The composure Guardiola has built his reputation on was nowhere to be found the moment Haaland's name came up in the pre-season press room. All he offered was a curt, clipped, "He's our player," before slamming the door on the topic and moving to the next question. For a manager whose entire identity rests on controlling every variable, tactics, transfers, narrative, all of it, that's a telling crack. Those close to the club read it as exactly what it looks like. Confirmation that something is moving behind the scenes and moving fast. Meanwhile, 3,000 kilometers away in Madrid, the mood could not be more electric. The excitement is real. Sources close to the dressing room describe a squad that is visibly buzzing at the mere possibility of lining up alongside a player of Haaland's caliber. Several senior players have reportedly reached out privately, just to find out if the rumors carry any real weight. History says pay attention to that detail. This exact kind of internal excitement has, more than once, been the signal that arrives right before the official announcement. Tactically, the logic is impossible to miss. Haaland's brutal combination of pace, aerial dominance, and clinical finishing is precisely the kind of individual weapon Mourinho has built championship-winning teams around for 2 decades. His predecessors at the club favored a possession-obsessed, build-from-the-back philosophy. Mourinho doesn't. He's always constructed sides designed to strike with surgical, ruthless precision on the counter. And there is not a better finisher walking the planet today to lead that kind of attack than the Norwegian. But strip away the tactics, and there's something far more explosive underneath. This is personal. Manchester City, under Guardiola, spent the better part of a decade building a fortress. They assembled a roster other elite clubs simply could not touch, a monument to their dominance over English and European football alike. Mourinho has never once hidden his rivalry with Guardiola, a feud that stretches back to their days together in Spain. Ripping away City's most indispensable player would not just be a transfer, it would be a declaration of war. Sources inside the Bernabeu describe the pursuit internally as deeply personal for Mourinho, a chance, at last, to settle an old score in the most brutal way imaginable. Manchester City is trapped, and there is no clean way out. Rejecting Real Madrid's offer outright risks a scenario the club has lived through before. Once a star player knows a move of this magnitude is on the table, he quietly begins pushing for the exit, regardless of what the club says publicly. There is no confirmation, as of now, that Haaland himself has asked to leave. But those familiar with the situation are issuing the same warning. Even the mere perception of interest from a club like Real Madrid can shift a player's mentality heading into a new season. Once that shift happens, there's rarely a way back. Accepting the offer, on the other hand, is almost unthinkable. City's whole attacking approach for years has been built, brick by brick, around Haaland as the focal point. Losing him wouldn't just mean losing a striker, it would mean tearing down and rebuilding that approach from the ground up, overnight. That nightmare scenario has reportedly already forced City's recruitment staff into emergency contingency mode, scrambling to line up potential replacements in case the unthinkable actually happens. Make no mistake, this rewrites the balance of power. Two clubs have dominated European football's biggest storylines for the better part of a decade. That balance is about to be completely upended. Real Madrid, fresh off an already ambitious summer of reinforcements, would be adding the final devastating piece to a roster many already consider the most talented on the planet. City would be left picking up the pieces. Manchester City would face a genuine identity crisis, forced to rebuild their entire attacking philosophy from scratch, for the first time since Haaland's arrival, turned them into a scoring machine. For now, both clubs remain publicly tight-lipped, hiding behind routine denials and diplomatic non-answers every time the subject comes up. But those close to the situation are adamant. Behind closed doors, the conversations have not stopped. And Mourinho, a manager who rarely walks away from a target once he's locked onto it, is showing zero signs of backing down. And this saga is far from finished. Chaos is unfolding in Manchester. Meanwhile, whispers are emerging out of Munich, where another European giant is reportedly watching the entire situation like a hawk, ready to swoop the moment Real Madrid's audacious pursuit of Haaland shows even the smallest crack.